Hello everyone, DarkOfAllTrades here. Now for today, I'm going to talk about a subject which may be tough for some of you to hear. Now I know I respond to a lot of excellent arguments. You determine if that was sarcasm or not. The topic for today's video is arguably the most, if not one of the most persistent or at least mentioned topic within apologetics. I haven't done a full breakdown on this specific topic yet, though I will very likely do so with how close apologists try to get it to an actual academic topic. So what is it? Well, today's video comes from a channel called Mr. Buzz's Man Cave. Now, I've never heard of this channel before, but I wondered initially if it was some kind of Real Talk Guys channel, where the gentleman just sits in his office and talks about life, the universe, and everything. Or it could be a whole channel about bees. I don't know. Well, the video was shared with me by someone on my Discord who is very often in my premieres, so thank you for this. This video is titled, A Video for Atheists. Such simple wording. It is clear and to the point, and there is no doubt who he is talking to. Of course, perhaps this is an outlier of his videos. Let's see what else he has posted recently. Oh, he's one of those kinds of theists. Let me make this as easy as I can. Just in case you aren't sure, there's a really simple way to tell if demons or witches are attacking your mind or spirit. They're not. But spooky things happen around Halloween, don't they? Yes, I know it's April, but... Well, let's see what Buzz's Man Cave, not a euphemism, has to say to me and other atheists.
Only heaven silent for an answer.
Good day, folks. Welcome to Mr. Buzz's Soul Clinic. I am Mr. Buzz, and should do a quick video here right now. Just a topic that I really wanted to address again. I've been talking about this topic a lot, the last 2 weeks especially. Not just on here, but with other people. I have two friends that love to talk about God, actually. Very devout believers, both of them are, along with myself. I also know some people who do not believe at all. Now, my friends who like people I know, they're decent people. They've chosen, to not believe, and that's fine, and they're still my friends.
Okay, this touches on an idea that has annoyed me for a long time. The idea that one can choose to believe something, or in this case, choose to not believe, is one that just needs to go away. Even granting something like free will, humans don't choose to believe things. We are either convinced by the evidence or we aren't. What helped me put this whole idea into words was an article I found years ago in Psychology Today called Disbelief is Not a Choice by David Nyos. I'll leave a link to it in the description. It is worth your time to read. Even if I were not entirely correct on this, the notion of choosing to believe or not believe grossly oversimplifies the complex process involved. So I'm going to very briefly touch on the key elements that make up the formation of beliefs. People often form beliefs based on evidence available to them and their ability to reason through that evidence. Strong evidence and logical reasoning can lead to conviction in a particular belief. Individuals' personal experiences play a significant role in shaping their beliefs. Direct encounters, observations, and interactions can strongly influence what people believe to be true. Beliefs are often influenced by the people around us, including family, friends, peers, and community members. Social norms, cultural values, and group dynamics can all impact what a person comes to believe. Emotions can also play a role in belief formation. People may hold onto beliefs that provide them with a sense of comfort, security, or belonging, even in the absence of strong evidence. Cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias, the tendency to favor information that confirms existing beliefs, and availability bias, the tendency to overvalue information that is readily available, can distort the formation and maintenance of beliefs. Education and exposure to new information can influence beliefs by expanding knowledge and challenging existing assumptions. Beliefs may also serve psychological needs, such as the need for control, understanding, or meaning in life. People may adopt beliefs that help them make sense of the world and navigate uncertainty. For many people, religious or spiritual beliefs are central to their worldview. These beliefs are often shaped by teachings, scriptures, rituals, and personal experiences within a spiritual or religious community. While individuals do not consciously choose their beliefs in the traditional sense, I will grant that they are active participants in the processes that shape and reinforce them.
There's another type of people who don't believe, and that isn't enough for them to not believe. So they have to ridicule the idea as if, as if people who believe in some sort of intelligent design, building this amazing, incredible, mystical universe. If you think that something like that happened, you might be called superstitious, crazy, old, dark age. They ridicule because you believe someone intelligent designed this, right? Another being of some sort, or beings, whatever, a god, if we will.
And why do you think that people ridicule the idea of intelligent design? Now, let me be clear. I typically do everything I can to not ridicule people for believing bad ideas. I evaluate the ideas, and if they are bad, I call them bad. Intelligent design is a poor idea. When investigated, it fails on many levels. As it is often put forth as a scientific theory, scientists evaluate it like any other idea to see if it should be considered further, or if it has too many problems and needs revision. So why is it viewed unfavorably by many people in the scientific community? Intelligent design posits that certain features of the natural world are best explained by an intelligent cause rather than natural processes. However, proponents of intelligent design have not provided empirical evidence to support their claims. In contrast, evolutionary theory, which explains the diversity of life through natural selection and genetic variation, is supported by a vast body of evidence from multiple scientific disciplines including biology, geology, paleontology, and genetics. Intelligent design is often criticized for being untestable and unfalsifiable, which are fundamental requirements of the scientific theories. Unlike scientific theories, which take testable predictions that can be verified or falsified through empirical observation and experimentation, intelligent design relies on arguments from ignorance, i.e. gaps in scientific knowledge, and claims of irreducible complexity, which has been refuted by scientific research. Critics argue that intelligent design is inherently religious or philosophical in nature rather than scientific. The concept of an intelligent designer implies a supernatural entity or force which falls outside the realm of scientific inquiry. As such, intelligent design is often perceived as an attempt to inject religious beliefs into science education, which violates the principles of separation of church and state in secular societies. Intelligent design proponents often misrepresent or misunderstand evolutionary theory in their attempts to discredit it. They may present false dichotomies between evolution and religious beliefs, promote misconceptions about the mechanisms of evolution, or misinterpret scientific evidence to fit their preconceived notions. Such misrepresentations contribute to public confusion and undermine scientific literacy. Intelligent design is not accepted as a legitimate scientific theory by the majority of scientists and scientific organizations worldwide. The consensus among the scientific community is that evolutionary theory provides a most comprehensive and well-supported explanation for the diversity of life on Earth. Intelligent design lacks scientific credibility and is considered pseudoscience by mainstream scientific community. In very brief summary, intelligent design is not scientific, and in fact, it undermines science education. When someone tries to use magic as the cause for anything in science, it is rightfully dismissed. And if one keeps trying to push for it, they are often ridiculed for doing so. Keep your religion out of science. I don't come to your church telling you that you need to believe in evolution, so you don't get to come to my classroom and tell me I need to teach your religion.
Now, I want to mention the eclipse that happened. This is April 11th today, so it happened on the 8th. I watched that eclipse, and for that to happen, do you know how exact everything has to be?
Yes, and I know it doesn't need to be very exact at all. Certain conditions must be met, but even solar eclipses are not rare on Earth. According to astronomy.com, on average 2.38 solar eclipses of one kind or another occur every year. What we had on April 8th was a solar eclipse. Very basically, a solar eclipse is an alignment of the Sun, the Moon, and Earth in that order. The Moon, directly between the Sun and the Earth, casts a shadow on our planet. Was it cool to see? Well, I think so. But do things need to be exact? Well, not really. As long as that alignment of the Sun, the Moon, and the Earth in that order, and the Moon's orbital plane is closest to the plane of the Earth's orbit, you get an eclipse. According to live science, a total solar eclipse happens every 18 months on Earth. Astronomers' predictions of eclipses began in China as early as the 4th century BC. Eclipses hundreds of years into the future may now be predicted with high accuracy. So it seems like we figured out the math pretty well. But maybe he's talking about why total eclipses happen. Is this like a fine-tuning argument? The Sun's distance from the Earth is about 400 times the Moon's distance. The Sun's diameter is about 400 times the Moon's diameter. Because these ratios are approximately the same, the Sun and the Moon as seen from Earth appear to be approximately the same size. about a 0.5 degree of arc in angular measure. However, this is very anthropocentric. On other planets, there are different eclipses, or maybe none at all. Mercury doesn't have eclipses because there are no celestial bodies that pass between it and the sun. The moons of Mars are too small to create anything more than a partial eclipse. So is this argument going to be that Earth is special because we have total eclipses? Uniqueness doesn't necessarily imply special status in a broader context. While total solar eclipses may be rare on other planets due to their specific orbital configurations and the size of their moons, each celestial body harbors its own unique features and phenomena.
Do you know how exact the measurements of everything are? It is, and one is half the distance of the other, like exactly half, and it's just wild. I don't have the numbers here in front of me, but look at the measurements around, like the moon, the distance from the moon to the Earth, the distance from the moon to the sun, and the Earth to the sun. Look at all those distances, and there's something really interesting about it. Didn't happen at random. No, it didn't happen at random. If you look at it, you'll see it does not happen at random.
This is a claim. How do you know it didn't happen at random? He's basically committing a Texas sharpshooter fallacy here. He is asserting that some precise mathematical relationship between the sizes and distances of the sun and moon is evidence to argue that the Earth's ability to experience total eclipses is not random, but instead implies some level of design or intentionality. However, just because a particular alignment or relationship appears precise or unique doesn't necessarily mean it was intentionally designed. The apparent precision could be a result of natural processes or simply a consequence of the condition that happened to exist in our solar system. It is not uncommon to find patterns or relationships in nature that are the result of natural processes rather than intentional design. Intentionality needs to be shown, not just asserted.
So they're not random numbers, so somebody is responsible for it. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to figure that much out. That's pretty... I don't know why there's a big debate about whether there's some intelligent designer or there's not. The moon itself will tell you that something has interfered or been involved in all of this, because the numbers are just... the moon is the really interesting one. You got to go and look at that. It's wild.
I think he's referring to, as I mentioned briefly, the average distance from the Earth to the Sun and the average distance from the Earth to the Moon, and then the diameter of the Sun and the diameter of the Moon. I think he's using those rounded numbers I used before, getting both to about 400 times. But let's look at the actual numbers. I'm going to use freedom units for this, as that's how I was taught. I will put up the metric as well, but these numbers are going to be averages because the orbits are elliptical in shape. The average distance from the Earth to the Sun is 92,955,807 miles, but most people round up to about 93 million miles. This is called an astronomical unit. The average distance of the Earth to the Moon is about 238,855 miles. Divide the two, so you've got the difference is just shy of about 390 times, meaning the Sun is about 390 times farther away from the Earth as the Moon is. Now the second part. The diameter of the Sun is 865,000 miles. The diameter of the Moon is 2,159.2 miles. Again, divide the two. The difference is just over 400 times, meaning the diameter of the Sun is around 400 times the diameter of the Moon. So something 390 times farther away and 400 times larger will look pretty close to the same size. Though it most certainly is not exact or so precise like Buzz here mentioned. For the distance to be actually 400 times, the Moon would need to be 232,500 miles away, meaning it is off by 6,355 miles. Or for the diameter of the Sun to be 390 times that of the Moon, it would need to be 842,088 miles across, meaning it is off by around 22,912 miles. Both of these have about a 2.6% difference off from being that so perfect number I think he's looking for. Please feel free to check my math here. I'd be happy to get you sources to where I got my numbers if anyone wants to know.
They're so perfect. And now, for that eclipse to happen, everything's got to be just so.
Except for 2.6% for both of them in their respective directions, totaling a margin of about 5.2%. That sounds pretty close, but if you can be off by 5.2% and still be considered perfect, you're doing pretty well. To put this in perspective, if I have a dartboard that's 18 inches in diameter, if I were aiming for the exact bullseye, I could have missed it by about an inch. Now that sounds close, but that's not even in the outer bowl. A clear miss.
And I mean just so. There's no room for error with that. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
There's a 5.2% and maybe more depending on circumstance, so that's just not correct.
So they call it. They call this the Goldilocks zone. I think it is because it's where all conditions are just right. Yes. That doesn't happen just by chance. It just doesn't.
Very simply, the Goldilocks zone, also known as the habitable zone, refers to the region around a star where conditions are just right for the existence of liquid water on the surface of the planet. Planets located too close to their star would be too hot for liquid water to exist, leading the water to evaporate and boiling away. Conversely, planets located too far from their star would be too cold, causing any water to freeze solid. However, planets within the Goldilocks zone receive just the right amount of energy from their star to maintain a stable temperature range where liquid water could persist on their surface. According to the SETI Institute, with over 2,800 confirmed exoplanets, quote, so far, researchers have identified several hundred planets in the habitable zone of their star in Kepler data, end quote. So even rounding down to a single hundred out of 2,800, that is 1 out of 28 planets that are in the Goldilocks zone. Those are just what is discovered, and the numbers will change as we get more and better information. But it seems very Texas sharpshootery for him to imply that Earth is special in the universe because it's in the Goldilocks zone and therefore didn't happen by chance.
I don't know how this debate. I mean, I'm not saying is there a God or isn't there a God. I'm saying is there intelligent design.
No, you're talking about a God. This is a super dishonest tactic among the intelligent design crowd to try to make their argument less about their religion. They say things like, well, it could be aliens. But when questioned about it, they recognize that just kicks the can down the road, and all arguments lead them towards saying it's their God. I get that Buzz here believes in a God, and he should own up to that, and he wouldn't even need to clarify what God he thinks yet. But we all know whatever an intelligent design proponent says, intelligent designer, they are actually referring to a God.
Or did this just pop out of nothing and make itself?
This statement that it was either an intelligent designer, read God, or it popped out of nothing and just made itself, is a false dichotomy. The argument implies that there are only two options. However, externally existing in some form would be a third option. Formed by something unintelligent would be another option, see my magical primordial space crystal. Furthermore, this is potentially a straw man fallacy, as I do not know a single person who believes that everything, quote, just popped out of nothing and just made itself, end quote. We recognize that there was an initial singularity, but the scientific community does not make claims about where that came from. There could be hypotheses, but we cannot test them, so until we can, we have to stop there.
This is really the argument that these people are making.
No, it is not. I don't go around claiming that you believe a magic man in the sky, even though that is infinitely more accurate to what you believe than what you're saying that I/atheists are arguing. Find me a scientist who thinks this. Any single scientist who is honestly putting forth that the universe popped out of nothing and just made itself. I'll wait. Until then, your straw manning is getting insulting.
See how ridiculous that is? And those numbers, those distances, they just happened to end up like that?
Does Buzz not know that natural laws are natural, as are the results from them? His assertion that the roughly 400 times difference between the sizes and distances involved in a solar eclipse is not merely coincidental overlooks the fundamental nature of natural laws and mathematical relationships. Even if those numbers were precisely 400 times difference, which they're not, it is essential to recognize that coincidences do occur in mathematics and nature. To illustrate this point, let's consider a different scenario involving the number 400. Suppose I'm reading a book titled Life on the Moon by Robert Grossman, which happens to have 400 pages. If I read 1 page per minute, it would take me 400 minutes to finish the book. The difference between starting the book and finishing it is almost 400 minutes. Now imagine if I were to read this book during a solar eclipse. Would the fact that it took me 400 times longer to finish the book than to read a single page suggest some kind of magical or designed occurrence? Of course not. It's merely a coincidence based on the mathematical relationship between the number of pages in the book and the time it takes to read them. Similarly, an apparent precision of about 400 times difference in the context of a solar eclipse does not imply design or intentionality, but rather reflects the natural order of the universe.
No. No. There's a whole bunch of things like that too. If you start looking around at the universe, it is impossible to deny intelligent design. It really, really is. It is.
I deny intelligent design. Easier than I thought.
I don't know why people do.
It's impossible to do X, and I don't know why people do X. Okay, maybe this is a wording issue. I'll just let it go.
You're grasping at straws, okay? There's no argument for you.
There's no argument for denying intelligent design? There are plenty. as I've already showed why the scientific community doesn't accept it, but let's take a look at some more. Occam's razor, a principle in philosophy and science, suggests that the simplest explanation that fits the evidence is usually the best. Intelligent design introduces an unnecessary and complex entity, an intelligent designer, to explain natural phenomena when simpler, naturalistic explanations are available. Scientists can and do often point to examples of apparent imperfections or inefficiencies in the natural world as evidence against a perfect or intelligent designer. Features like vestigial organs, suboptimal adaptations, and instances of suffering or cruelty in nature seem inconsistent with the concept of an omnipotent and benevolent designer. In the United States, the legal battle over teaching intelligent design in public school science classrooms has centered on the separation of church and state. Opponents argue that advocating for intelligent design in public education violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, which prohibits the government from endorsing or promoting specific religious beliefs. Several court cases, including the landmark Kitzmiller v. Dover Area School District case in 2005, have ruled against the inclusion of intelligent design in science curricula on constitutional grounds. I know that legal precedent doesn't establish fact, but it is a solid hit against intelligent design. Intelligent design has its roots in the creationist movement, which seeks to promote a literal interpretation of religious texts like the Bible's account of creation. We can argue that the historical context of intelligent design as a successor to creationism reveals its religious motivations and undermines the claims to scientific legitimacy. The close association with creationism raises questions about the intellectual integrity and objectivity of intelligent design as a scientific theory. So, for there being no argument, it looks like there are plenty of arguments.
Intelligent design is the only way that this could have happened.
Prove it. So far, intelligent design has failed every time. I have given reasons why, and I've done the math to show that Buzz is off the mark with his claim, as well as given at least 2 other explanations besides his straw man. Does Buzz have some kind of scientific expertise that I don't know about? I don't know his real name, so I can't check if he published any papers, but with arguments like, an Eclipse is so fine-tuned it must be an intelligent designer, I'm guessing not.
There's no other possibility.
No other possibility? None at all? Buzz can't think of a single other idea that could even potentially be? What about you, my above-average intelligence viewer? Can you think of another explanation besides intelligent design? Let me know in the comments.
You guys need to learn something about probability and numbers numbers don't randomly do that. They just don't. It's just like when you find something in nature that's a perfect right angle and perfectly straight. That means humans or someone messed with it. It's not natural. There's no way it is.
This is just not true. While exact 90 degrees and perfectly straight lines only exist in the hypothetical, there are plenty of things in nature that can have these features. Here are some basalt columns in the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia, Canada. How about some salt crystals under a microscope? How about more salt crystals? How about some trees? How about some other kind of crystal? I was made aware that some leaf heliotropism, that is, some plant species, orient themselves perpendicularly to the sun's rays in the morning. These are just a few. A simple Google search would disprove Buzz's claim here.
Nature doesn't make that. Doesn't make a right angle. Doesn't make straight lines. Doesn't make perfect circles. When we find these things, it is absolutely intelligent design. Okay? There's nothing else that can make it.
This leads me to the question I've been dying to ask that intelligent design proponents just can't answer for some reason. How do we determine whether something is designed or not? I don't understand why they struggle with this question. It is so easy. We compare something with what we know is designed and something with we know is not. This is the same problem with the watchmaker argument. The intelligent design proponents cannot do this because to them, everything is designed. Therefore, they cannot come up with a criteria. At one time they tried complexity, but we know that comparing a simple thing that gets the job done efficiently is better than a really complex thing that does the same task. Complex things have more parts that can break down, often, if not always, making them more fragile than more simple things.
Nature doesn't do that. Nature makes erratic, random patterns. I mean, look at something nature made, and there's nothing straight or square or nothing about it, ever.
I already pointed out several examples, but I would love to know an example of what Buzz here thinks is natural and not designed, and how he knows.
It's just all over the place. That's what nature does.
So, the universe is natural by this logic. Stars are scattered all over the place. Planets are scattered all over the place. With enough examples, you're bound to find some kind of coincidences that less educated people can attribute to some kind of intelligence.
So that alone is enough to say intelligent design. So why is there an argument? Maybe somebody can tell me if there's an atheist out there who believes that everything just came out of some primordial soup, and then we had fish with legs and feet. And I mean, I've heard the story told a few different ways. It's the most asinine thing I've ever heard. It's the most asinine thing I've ever heard.
So Buzz thinks that natural causes are more asinine than a super being who does literal magic, violating the known laws of physics and nature. Literal magic versus natural causes. Which one violates Occam's razor?
That is so ridiculous. You're reaching for an answer when you make shit up like that. We didn't come from primordial soup. You know, we get some primordial soup one day, and eventually it ends up being this. I mean, if you guys really believe that, come on. I don't think you do. I think you just don't want to believe the other one, so that's the only one that's available to you.
Buzz's incredulity is not evidence for his point. Saying, that's stupid, therefore it isn't true, is another logical fallacy called an argumentum ad ridiculum, or appeal to ridicule. It is similar to the appeal to the stone fallacy, but he's not actually addressing even a very strawman argument he's trying to ridicule. He's simply dismissing it by calling it stupid. By his own logic, any one of us can say that intelligent design is stupid, and I don't think anyone really believes that. They just don't want to accept the fact that abiogenesis is by natural causes, which we know can happen at least. I would guess that this argument wouldn't convince Buzz, so why put forth his version?
Intelligent design, you got to at least start there if you want to know what's going on. Because it is. It's intelligent design.
And here's the big reveal. If you start with accepting intelligent design, then it's easy to get to accepting a god, because as I stated before, they're basically synonymous. Why do we have to start there? Why can't we start with unintelligent design? Even better, why can't we start with not knowing and go from there? Why start with the conclusion?
By a god, actually, is what the answer is, but...
See, he has presupposed his conclusion that a god exists and needs to start there in order to make his argument. How about we don't assume a god exists, and then what? What if we started with, I don't know why the distance from the Earth to the Sun is approximately 390 times farther than the Earth to the Moon. Why don't we investigate and see if we can find out why this is the case? Because we have an excellent idea as to why the Moon exists and why it is where it is, and it's not because some celestial wizard cast some magic spell. Presuppositionalists are the worst thinkers.
I'm not trying to get everybody to jump to that place. I'm trying to get you to accept intelligent design rather than by chance, at random.
Well, to no one's surprise, you are failing. How long does it take to look up the differences in sun and moon sizes? How long does it take to look up arguments against intelligent design? How long would it take to look up the scientific consensus? How long does it take to write an email to the astronomy department at a state university? His video is under 7 minutes. I can do literally all of that in less than 7 minutes. Of course, it takes time to explain things, which is why my response videos are significantly longer. Saying, God done it, takes a second, but finding and explaining the actual answer takes much longer. I take my time and get information from relevant sources. I think NASA knows more about eclipses than Buzz does, so I will trust NASA 100 times out of 100 over Buzz.
It ain't that. It ain't that you're wasting your time looking at something that's been proven to be intelligent design a million times over.
Listening to this guy, it is now definitely a form of wasting time. But the video's almost over, so let's just finish it.
And you're still messing with, oh no, it's random by chance. Wasting time. Forget it. It's not the case. It's not the case. I'm not usually so adamant on so that something is this, but this one, the answer is all around you. The answer is all around you. There's nothing that could make this all by chance. It's made by intelligent design. And I will leave it there. Thanks for watching. Go find yourself some right angles and straight lines and circles out in nature and chalk it up to intelligent design. See you in the next one.
I did find right angles and straight lines in nature. You want circles as well? How about dandelion seed heads, mushrooms, eye spots on a butterfly? How about a sun halo? How about the favorite of anti-evolutionists, the human eye, which has multiple circles like the iris and the pupil? So many examples in nature. Of course, especially with the last example, once you point this out, the goalposts get moved, saying, those are all designed. And you are back to square one. And that's where his video ends. Rather unput together, pretty rambly, so let's see if I can summarize his points. There is a precision required for eclipses. The precise number required for an eclipse mean an intelligent designer must be involved. Nature doesn't create perfect right angles or straight lines. Things are not random. There's no argument for anything other than intelligent design, and if you think so, you believe something stupid. Really, that is about it. He took a lot of time to say not much at all, and he didn't give any actual evidence. So what was the point here? Recently, people pointed out that some videos I responded to that appeared to be about atheists were not actually meant for atheists, though I took them that way. In this case, I don't think this could be said given the actual title of the video. He clearly geared this towards atheists, so what were we supposed to do with the information or lack thereof that he gave here? That's it for this one, so what do you think? Do you think that Buzz made some stellar points? Or do you think the cat in the background was the actual star of the show? Let me know in the comments below. If you found that I have the right angle, hit that like button. Though for my content to perfectly circle back to you, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Both of those are found in nature. Though an extra crafted thanks to my patrons, Calamitous Anima, Sora, Long-Haired Lefty, Musical Ocelot, Ooga Booga Luga, Tarek Alkasab, Jemabom, Kai Henningsen, and Triple Towel. I could not design a better, classier, more attractive group of people. If you would like to be the intelligence that shapes the world that is my channel, you can join them for as low as $1 a month at patreon.com/DarkOfAllTrades. Seriously, all of you make my world a better place. Without you, I don't know how many of these intelligent designers I could stand. You make it all worth it. Thank you. And as always, keep learning.